That's not how this works. In yet another instance of white nonsense, a Caucasian man from Florida came out as Filipino after insisting he's transracial. The term used to refer to the adoption of a child that's of a different race than the adoptive parents, but is now being brandished about by people who identify with another race or ethnicity. Jadu claims being around the music and the food and watching stuff about the Philippines made him feel Filipino. But inhaling factoids about the country and being able to scarf down balut and sweet spaghetti doesn't mean anything, except that you're a fan. And not a very good one, because the tuk-tuk you ride around in is not actually from the Philippines. It's from Thailand. So consider your application to be Filipino denied. That might be one down, but there's a whole Facebook page of white people who are appropriating some other culture in the name of self-identification. One licensed psychologist says people shouldn't take offense because it's harmless, and more or less equated identifying with a race to choosing a religion. The thing is, unless a black dude can get a cop to back off by claiming he identifies as white, this nonsense is not gonna fly. Y'all need to be slapped back to reality. Here's more light-colored nonsense.
White woman wants white doctor at Canadian clinic. An angry white lady was caught on video at a Toronto area walk-in clinic on June 18th, ranting that she needed a white doctor to see her son, who was experiencing chest pains. When the clinic staff told the unidentified mother that there wouldn't be any white doctors available until later in the afternoon, the mama exploded in a white ball of rage. Multiple patients in the waiting room told her to take her son into the hospital examination area, but she refused. The woman then described a physician whom she'd seen earlier
as having brown teeth and saying he didn't speak perfect English.
With her son still waiting to be examined for chest pains, remember, the woman was heard screeching,
"Oh my God, what type of horrible country do I live in?"
She then backed down a little bit and demanded to see a doctor who was at least actually born in Canada, before asserting to those who were objecting to her rants that they were attacking her for being white. She also told folks to step away from her personal bubble. Local authorities investigated, but no charges were filed. And you'll be glad to hear the woman's son was eventually examined by a physician. Whether that doctor was white or not, we don't know. And frankly, we don't give a bleep. Old white dude tells Hispanic American Walmart worker to go back to her own country. An old white guy's rant about immigration, directed toward a Hispanic employee of an Irving, Texas Walmart, is pissing people off left, right, and center. According to the Dallas Morning News, the unnamed man was at the store's optical center on Sunday with vision problems. The worker, identified only as Adela, was dealing with him, but he wanted a white employee to help him out. Apparently, he got triggered after seeing an obese black woman in an electric wheelchair. So he thought it would be a good idea to bloviate about that woman to Adela. And that's when Adela began recording.
Who do you think pays her hospital bills?
I don't know.
I do.
You can ask her.
I pay her hospital bills. She's a foreigner. She come over here. She gets sick and fat and obese, and she can't do anything. She can't work, but I have to pay her bills. You see what I mean? Am I fat and obese? I go to work every day. I pay taxes.
Okay.
Thankfully, the guy stopped it and said he was wrong and apologized. No, we're just kidding. He continued ranting at Adela, who's an American citizen originally from El Salvador.
I pay my own taxes
All
too.
of these foreigners are living off of us good, working white people.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I'm just telling you the truth. It's all right. I mean, I know you ain't leaving. I know you're here to stay. Y'all should go to your own countries and fix up your own country. And try to get your own country to be a...
Okay, sir, I don't want to hear that anymore. That's it? Okay, and she's going to help you, okay?
This work when...
Adela got another employee to deal with the man, but his rant is now coming back to bite him in the ass. The video was originally posted to Facebook by a local filmmaker-photographer, then it made it onto the Dallas Morning News blog. So what's your take? Sound off in the usual spot below.
White civil rights leader busted for pretending to be black. Rachel Dolezal, the president of National Association for the Advancement of Colored People chapter in Spokane, Washington, was outed as Caucasian yesterday. Dolezal's race came into question after she claimed to have received hate mail and death threats at the NAACP chapter's post office box. However, postal workers told authorities that the only way hate mail, which did not have a stamp or barcode, could have ended up in a P.O. box is if it had been placed there by a post office employee or someone with a key. The incident was the 9th time Dolezal was a victim of a hate crime where no evidence was presented and no perpetrators were ever identified. Dolezal was busted when her estranged parents confirmed that she is of European descent and wanted everyone to know the truth. She is currently facing accusations of falsifying records for years and orchestrating her own hate crimes. When KXLY News confronted Dolezal during an interview, she denied the allegations against her and walked out. Dolezal is also an adjunct professor of Africana Studies at Eastern Washington University and the chair of the Ombudsman Commission to represent the interest of the area's minority groups in relations with the Spokane police. When asked about the situation by the Spokesman Review, Dolezal was evasive about her ethnic background, saying, "We're all from the African continent."
White poet wins literary award using Asian pen name. One poem in this year's The Best American Poetry 2015, an anthology whose premise rests on definitively saying what's great prose, was written by Yifeng Cho. The poet, though, unlike what his pseudonym may suggest, is definitively not Asian. He is in fact very much Anglo-Saxon white. Michael Derek Hudson, the writer, admitted in his contributor's note that he deliberately chose a Chinese nom de plume. After Hudson's poetry was rejected at least 40 times while using his normal American white name, he decided to use a minority identity in order to suit his purpose, putting on a yellow face to get ahead in the industry, as unlikely of a sentence as that may be. Never mind China's long, rich history or culture that's given people with an actual Chinese background their distinctive voice. It does seem that Hudson's pseudonym helped him out, because his poem was only rejected 9 times before it was accepted, and also included in the anthology. After Hudson's win, the talk hasn't been about the merits of his poem, but about how the poem's byline has left a sour taste in literary America's mouth. Response from netizens have been ruthless. Some equate Hudson's use of a heritage to Rachel Dolezal's use of a black identity. A couple of white people who use a racial identity when they want to, without having to deal with the identity's inherited disadvantages. But race aside, what does it mean for the literary world when a poem rejected under one name can be accepted under another name? Are we judging writing based on the byline or by the actual quality of the work?
Barbecue place gets death threats over White Appreciation Day. Milliken, Colorado barbecue restaurant Rub-N Butts is catching a lot of heat after a proud Hispanic owner Edgar Antillian announced a White Appreciation Day on June 11th. The controversial observance offers 10% discount to all Caucasian customers. The barbecue joint's Facebook page was instantly bombarded with both praise and outrage, with outrage taking the lead. Antillian said there are months dedicated to Black history and Hispanic heritage, so why not dedicate one day to Caucasians? Local civil rights activist Ricardo Romero worries that this event will perpetuate racism and added that if Antillian is going to give discounts, he might as well give it to the whole community. Jennifer McPherson of Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies points out that Rub-N Butts may undergo investigations if even one customer files a complaint. The event is causing a heaping helping of trouble as it is, despite Antillian being of Hispanic descent. Imagine what would happen if Antillian himself was a Caucasian American. Despite the outrage and death threats, Antillian still stands by his decision and expressed his desire to unite people and celebrate all Americans regardless of race.